But in the meantime, Boxer's gotten siege mode. So no way. I thought he got okay. He did get siege mode. Unfortunately, he didn't have his tank sieged up there. And it looks like Much is just gonna try and run past that tank. And Boxer doesn't have anything in his main. This could be very very bad for Boxer. He's just got a couple of vultures, but with the observer there, those vultures are not going to be able to do a lot of good. Those mines that taking out just that one zealot. It looks like, well, Boxer, I think he's going to be okay because he's going to have probably a couple tanks or 3 vultures or something popping out at once, and they'll just be able to deal with these dragoons before they do too much damage. They're not going to be able to take out any buildings or anything. It looks like Boxer's preparing to use his SCVs, and usually what you see is they'll send in the SCVs right before the units pop out of the factories, and it works very well because then you can distract the dragoons or whatever's in your base long enough to get your, because otherwise if the vultures or whatever tanks pop out and the dragoons are just waiting there, then the dragoons can just pick off the tanks basically. But if you send out your SCVs too early, then they'll get needlessly picked off while you're waiting for that tank. So usually players try and time it so that the SCVs go out and just distract and push back the dragoons or whatever it happens to be just long enough. And a shell coming in there. There's a Reaver in that shuttle. I'm almost certain of it. And Boxer saw it coming in. He didn't react too quickly though. And Boxer does not have a lot of SCV. It looks like he got just a couple SCV kills there with that. He does take out a tank though, so that's a very good use of that Reaver there, definitely. Boxer does not have turrets up anywhere. I don't think he even has an engineering bay. This is going to be more of a target though. If he takes out some SCVs in that little spot, that could be very bad. It looks like he actually goes for the tank though. He's going to try to take out Boxer's forces, and this could work to his advantage. Boxer actually transferring some of his SCVs back to his main there, trying to even things up, make neither side as much of a target there. There's a bunch of SCVs right on that same spot there, and Much does not get that opportunity. I think maybe his Reaver has taken a hit, so he couldn't afford to drop it out there. I didn't see, but yeah, he could by taking out these tanks though. What just killed that? Maybe it was his Scarab, a loose Scarab, but it almost looked like the vultures actually killed off Boxer's own tank after the Reaver was lifted up. But yeah, by taking out those tanks, he's not doing much economical damage. But what he can do then is he's macroing his dragoons back at his base, and so if he can take out enough of Boxer's tanks with this Reaver harassment, then when he goes in for his frontal assault, Boxer won't have much to stop the regular assault. So even though he'd be stopping the harassment, he wouldn't be. And it looks like what Much has in fact done is actually just use this harassing time to get another expansion. So I think that's a very smart move of him. Doing that, and you took out enough of Boxer's tanks that he doesn't have to be worried about Boxer moving out, because if he hadn't taken out those tanks, Boxer would be in a good place right now for some kind of a push, possibly we don't want to say a timing push because he expanded earlier, but I guess it would be kind of a. Anyways, point being that Boxer would be able to push out if he had a lot of tanks going on there. And now there's 2 Reavers in that shuttle. It looks like he actually only went back to pick up that extra Reaver. And Boxer having a little bit of a tough time bringing his forces back here. He does have that Goliath out. Oh, that factory almost dead. One more. Whoa, that's close. That was close. Another couple Scarabs, and he would have taken out those 2 factories. Although I think Boxer probably would have been on his ball enough to canceled them just before the Scarabs hit there. But still, that would have put him behind a long ways. As it stands now, he can put more SCVs back on those factories, build more factories, get his macro up a little bit more after all. But yeah, now with the turrets, he's got the Goliath there as well, so that's going to be able to fend off the Reaver harassment there. Basically, the Reaver harassment is done. We can call the Reaver harassment done. Bunch is going to bring back his Reaver in those shuttles, and when he makes a move out of his base, then he's going to bring the Reavers with him, and there'll be a very good supplement to his army when he does that. So that'll be fairly soon. He does have those cannons up as well. Boxer moving out with just a few vultures, just laying some random mines, and usually those kind of random mines don't do a whole lot of good. Usually you see Protoss players just sending out some random dragoons to take care of those mines with an observer, but sometimes, especially like in later game, there's just too much going on, and players just don't have enough observers around, and sometimes those mines catch things off guard and can actually be very effective. So it's not going to be the case with these mines right outside Boxer's base. That only makes sense, though. It stands to reason. But it looks like, wow, it looks like Much is going to try and do some more harassment. I don't think that's a good idea. I think he's liable to lose. He's going to have to be cautious here because he's liable to lose those Reavers unless he sees. No, he does not. We've got his first person view mode. He does not see Boxer's expansion in the bottom left, so he's not going to go for that at all. So maybe actually, well, let's see. Maybe he was not going for more harassment at all. After all, it looks like he's directing his shuttle back towards Boxer's kind of main base. He's actually directing his army towards the center of the map. So it looks like he could be trying to gather up forces in the center and then make a move for Boxer's base, or maybe go hunting for expansions or something like that. It's hard to tell completely at this point, I guess. But he's definitely massing up in the center there. Boxer just kind of using his static defense at his natural there to actually Much expanding another time. Boxer has a lot of SCVs down here. This is really, really risky for Boxer. He needs to... There's basically no way he can protect that base right now. If Much moves against the bottom left base, it will die. Although, if he did, then Boxer could counterattack, because Boxer has macroed up a lot more tanks than I thought he had. I didn't realize he had that many tanks. So Boxer is actually in a very, very good position here. He's moving out with a lot of tanks. It looked what I would probably anticipate he's going to try and secure another expansion with these tanks. He hasn't quite macroed up to full yet, and so that's what I would anticipate is him just trying to take another expansion, possibly the 12 o'clock spot, because the whoa, big battle coming in here. It looks like Much might be making his move, though. He's trying to catch Boxer while his tanks were unsieged, and he did, in fact, initiate the attack while Boxer's tanks were unsieged. Now he's got his tanks sieged up, and they're killing off Dragoons, but those Reavers just absolutely killing everything, slaughtering. Boxer having to bring out SCVs now to try and deal with these, and they're way too far out there, way too many Dragoons as well, and that minefield is not going to do a lot of good. Boxer he's got a lot of factories, so I think this next wave of units that comes out of his factories are going to be, never mind. I was going to say that they're going to be able to take care of it, but Much going all in on this. He's not going to just try to sacrifice this army and then try for another push later on. He's going to try and reinforce. And Boxer picking off those Templar, that was absolutely crucial. That was absolutely crucial. Boxer just bought a way back into this game for himself. Well, maybe, I don't know where all the rest of his forces are. Maybe those Vultures are the only thing that came out of his factories. He really needed to have 3 or 4 tanks come out a minute ago in order to survive, and it doesn't look like Boxer's actually going to survive this after all. Now there's Reavers in his main, and Much doing a very, very good job of those shuttles. Boxer is out of Goliaths, so he's not going to be able to stop the shuttle after all. And now the SCV is going down, and that's basically game. I think everyone involved in this knows that there's not really a way that he can get back into this right now. He does have bottom left, but yeah, no, it's just not happening. I'm sorry. But, I mean, good play on Boxer's part. I don't think he played poorly. I don't think he played badly. He didn't defend against the Reaver harassment as well as he could have. And I think that's really kind of what ended it for him, was that. And, you know, basically if he defended the Reaver harassment, I don't know how he could have really, unless he gotten Goliaths out earlier or turrets. I think that's what it was. He didn't have any anti-air. Usually by that point you'd expect the Terran to have anti-air. But he didn't have any anti-air, and the Much was able to walk around and pick off tanks basically at will, and that's what allowed him to harass Boxer enough, take out his forces, take out some SCVs, and just keep Boxer behind enough economically while he expanded like hell, and it kept Boxer occupied enough that he was able to make several expansions and just totally take over the macro game. By the end of the game there, Much had basically double the economy that Boxer did, because he'd lost like a few probes while getting a lot more nexuses, and just excellent play by Much, and Much eating an invisible hamburger and celebration there. Well deserved on Much's part. He did play very, very well. So that puts the series at 1-1, by the way, between Ace and CJ. Hope you enjoyed it.